Welcome to the unincorporated communal entity known as OHAMSI. OH, our hearts, AM, and minds, community. OHAMSI. I am Marcel, not by the way, my real name, because we in OHAMSI believe that it is possible to create a new way of communicating with social media and recording technology that was not available to anybody in the past and is currently being used in a very 20th century way. Or should I say it's being structured from a financial standpoint in a 20th century way. When David Sarnoff, the person who is behind RCA, and to a large extent was responsible, he wasn't the only one, but he was a very important player in the provision of mass media, first radio, then television. He, by the way, was the young telegraph operator who got the message from the Titanic. He was the one on that other ship, the Carpathia, I believe. Or maybe he wasn't on the Carpathia. He might have been on land, and he relayed the message to the Carpathia and the rest of the world. I believe that's what it was. But anyway, that's not his real contribution to humanity. His contribution is to be one of the key players in bringing radio. Well, I've already said that, but well, it's worth repeating. It's so significant. David Sarnoff. Oh, I'm going to miss my train. Gosh darn it. Wait a minute. Let's see if I can do this. Come on. Let's go. Let's not screw around here. We're going to make it. We've got to keep going. Oh, good. Good. No problem. I believe I put auto level control on. Excuse me. Sorry. I could do it. It would just be a continuation of what I was doing out there. Just continue talking the way I was in front of all the people waiting in line at the Delacorte Theater. And as an emissary from OHAMSI to the world, we who believe that 21st century technology should be used in a 21st century way, not a 20th century way, like Facebook. They've got all sorts of new ideas, but their whole structure is based on 20th century notions of mass media requiring concentrations of wealth and power in order to get even a radio signal, let alone video signal across the airwaves into people's living rooms, required an enormous concentration of capabilities, tie-ins to governmental agencies, distribution networks, all sorts of things. And in order to get a video of from some place to another place, well, it was in the 20th century. It was a remarkably intense undertaking. David Sarnoff was one of the pioneers in pulling it out all together. My father worked for the man, and unfortunately they also worked for the guy's son, and the guy's son was just not him. He drove RCA, he allowed his advisors, his marketing people, his finance people, they were the ones who drove RCA into being sold as a name only by, to whoever, China probably at this time, the owners of RCA, who knows, doesn't matter. the point is, Facebook has found itself in a very 20th century quandary. Although people in the 20th century didn't do the kind of outsized things that we do these days. I mean, who would think to pay a company that's got 12 employees who basically takes pictures and lets you share them? Who would think to spend $1 billion to buy such a company? Come on, is it really worth that? No, of course not. But as a marketing ploy, it worked because it was right in the weeks before the IPO. And so they got people to buy into what a lot of people were saying was a lousy investment. Facebook is just not generating enough money to be worth $100 billion. So you got, once now Facebook has to work, Facebook's master is money. Facebook is no longer able to do what, to focus on being innovators in social media other than as marketing tools. Social media as marketing tool. And Facebook had better come up with really lots of new ways to make money off of their basic model. Instead of being able to focus on making social media a tool for people to use. They're stuck in the 20th century. It's up to us to work together, us people who are just normal people who actually now have the power to communicate to anybody, with anybody throughout the world. It doesn't cost us anything. As long as we have broadband and we have our notebook at home and our smartphone, we could communicate with anybody. All that needs to happen is some kind of mechanism for indexing, for finding one another. And well, you know what? We could do it. It's called wiki indexing. We can take each other's ideas and our passions and our questions and so on, and we could share it with each other and allow for that whole crowdsourcing idea of wiki indexing to make it possible that our concerns, our hopes, our dreams, our ideas are accessible to people who actually are interested in what we're thinking. Of course, we have to be very careful about privacy. And that's one of the things we've learned. It's a good thing. We've seen all the disasters that social media has caused in terms of privacy. So we, in our grassroots kind of organization that has no central core to it, no political core, no religious core, no ethnic core, no age core, no nothing core. We're just people. And we now have the capability of talking to one another, to anybody in the world who happens to have similar core values to us, who believe. Anyway, I'm going on too long, but if anybody's at all interested, 6 letters, CBFOCI. CBFOCI. And I'm going to shut up. Say it one more time and I'll shut up. CBFOCI. That's it. Thank you for listening.